Western Teacher Live, cutting through noise on public education and union issues.
Well, hello and welcome to Western Teacher Live. Bob Pigg here, bringing you the podcast that covers all things public education here in Western Australia. And my guest is Natalie Blewett, the Senior Vice President of the SSTUWA. Natalie, welcome. And you've got some big news to share for our Level 3.3 classroom teachers.
I do indeed, and thanks very much, Bob. It's fantastic to be back in the podcasting studio. Welcome back to all our regular listeners, and for those of you joining us for the first time, it is great to have your company. So I actually have some important information for all the Level 3 classroom teachers out there. One of the important wins that we secured as part of the General Agreement negotiations was the trial of a Level 3.3 classroom teacher. So what this actually means is that any existing Level 3 classroom teachers who would like to try something different, they can actually apply for one of up to 30 schools at the moment who have been accepted into the trial. You can actually apply for a very specialised Level 3.3 classroom teacher role.
And how are people meant to go about that? What qualifications they need to have currently?
So you have to be an existing Level 3 classroom teacher to be able to apply. Now, to see where the schools are, now as part of our agreement, we negotiated that we would have a maximum of up to 40 schools. So to have 30 schools coming on board is a fantastic outcome. So there are many positions that will be becoming available, and the jobs will be rolled out as the schools have them available and want to advertise. Currently, there are 6 schools that are open, and you can find the advertisements for these on the internal jobs board, logging in through the Department of Education, how you normally would. So some of the schools, to give you an example, we have the broad variety of all sectors. We have a primary school listed, we have a community high school listed, an education support school, as well as a district high school. Some of them are in the metro areas, some are a little bit further afield. So if you are a Level 3 classroom teacher and are looking for a change, you can actually share your expertise. So it's still the role of the Level 3 classroom teacher, one of instructional nature. It's an opportunity for the Level 3 classroom teachers to share their expertise where there is a community in most need. So, Bob, if I can also provide a bit more information about the Level 3 classroom teacher role, for those people who would like to find out a little bit more, the information is actually in our exchange of letters, which you'll find in the back of our Red Book. But more specifically, you're looking for what's called Attachment C. And this one is actually titled Trial Introduction of a Level 3.3 Classroom Teacher. One of the great conditions that are attached to this role, actually there's a number, but one of them, most importantly, is as a Level 3 classroom teacher, you actually hold your permanent position at your school. So, for example, if I was a teacher, which I am, a teacher in a North Metropolitan School, I'm a Level 3 classroom teacher myself. If I applied and won one of these positions, Level 3.3 classroom teacher positions, I'd keep my position at my Metropolitan School for up to 3 years. That means that at the end of the 3-year position, I return to my home school and I've been able to share my expertise and support a different community. So that's one, it's a right of return. The second part to this is the provision of at least a 0.1 FTE release time, which means that as a Level 3 classroom teacher, I get time out of the classroom, released from the classroom, to be able to take on my leadership role in the school, which is fantastic. The third part to this is also the salary increase. So currently, Level 3 classroom teachers, when you become a Level 3 classroom teacher, you commence on Level 3.1. After 12 months, you automatically progress to Level 3.2. And now with this opportunity, there's a third incremental level. So if you are successful at one of these jobs, you will then progress up the salary scale to Level 3.3. So lots to think about and lots to be excited about this trial. One
of the things you mentioned there about you can go back because you've got your substantive position. If you you go and try this out and you find a community, you're loving the work and you've done your 3 years, do you get the option to stay on in that role? Is it automatic, or is there sort of conditions around that?
There are conditions, so you will actually need to return to your home school because a position is only available for up to 3 years. So you will return to your home school. However, if that position does become available, you can apply through the normal merit selection process, but you won't actually be able to head back to that school as a level 3.3. If you were successful in winning the job on merit, you would actually then progress to that school on salary level 3.2. So the great thing is you keep your home school and you get to try something new and support a whole new community and be able to really get stuck into those leadership roles that we know as level 3 classroom teachers we love doing so much.
And of course that then presumably gives you the opportunity to move on to even higher leadership roles later on potentially because you've broadened your experience.
Yes, potentially you can. We know that the level 3 classroom teacher is all about keeping the experienced teacher in the classroom. So for most of us as level 3 classroom teachers, that's the reason we undertook the challenge of becoming a level 3 classroom teacher in the first place. For some people who want to pursue an administrative position, they can actually do that. So 2 sort of different promotional pathways, if you like. But yes, the experience that you will gain in a level 3.3 classroom teacher role will definitely provide you with additional leadership skills if you then decide to progress into a school leader position in the future.
And this development and an opportunity comes because of the general agreement. So it was one of the issues that members raised, because with that extensive consultation process around the general agreement, every member gets some input at the branch level or regional council, district council level or state council even. So there have been a whole lot of those. So this is something members asked for, yes?
Absolutely. Every decision that we make, we have the members' best interests in mind, and members drive everything that we do. The compilation of the log of claims comes from members, which is how we've actually got to this position in the first place. The log of claims is a very extensive process. It takes about 18 months of member feedback, member engagement, member vote, particularly for our state council delegates. So it's extremely labour intensive, but to see such a win as this one for level 3 classroom teachers, it's an absolutely fantastic outcome for our members out there.
And of course, with the GA, having mentioned that, there are a number of things within the general agreement. Of course, the key bit is actually getting them underway. So how many so far of those wins in the GA that were secured by members, not least through their industrial action on the 23rd of April, 2024, who can ever forget that? How many of those wins are actually now underway, being implemented?
Fantastic day indeed that was, Bob, that big action that we undertook. And look, that was as a result of members wanting to actually be engaged, which was fantastic to see because, of course, as we know and have reported on quite extensively, the result of members' actions on that particular day across the whole state meant a large increase in additional items that we were able to secure and improvements for some of the ones that we already had. So look, Bob, I'm actually really thrilled to report to our listeners that even though the general agreement was only registered on the 4th of November 2024, we have already been able to land and implement 37 of the wins that our members have secured. So we're tracking along quite well, and we are certainly progressing conversations on those ones that are coming next. So watch this space. What you can actually do, if you ever want to have a look at how we're tracking with along with these new conditions, you can actually head onto our website where we have a fantastic implementation guide. So at any stage, if you're interested, you can jump onto the website and follow to the schools and the members hub to be able to find the implementation guide. Anything there that you find with a tick is fully implemented and is landed in schools. It's tracking along well. Anything with a cog means that we have started and commenced those conversations.
And there are a lot of them, 37 I think you might have mentioned that we've got underway, which is incredible. And that website address is www.sstuwa.org.au. Let's say that again, www.sstuwa.org.au. If you remember, when you log in, you'll go to your own home page, as it were, your dedicated page, and then you can search through to find the school's Red Book, the TAFE Red Book, and get all the up-to-date information on how you need to, what your rights are and how you need to go about ensuring that they're being honoured within your school. And if you have any issues, you contact Member Assist, which you can also do via the website, which is good news. Natalie, we've mentioned schools GA. Obviously, we had a lot of wins in the TAFE one too, which are being implemented. I thought it was a good time to congratulate our TAFE colleagues, because one of them, one of our TAFE students, Valerie Walker, has won the TAFE Photography Competition 2025. She's won the national competition. Highly recommend you check out the next issue of Western Teacher, and you will find that photo inside, and we may even have a bigger version of it next time. But an amazing pick in a very strong field, and that's the second year in a row where a West Australian TAFE student has won this competition, which is built around National TAFE Day.
Fantastic outcome. I was so delighted to hear that WA had actually won, and as you've mentioned, Bob, for the second year in a row. Some fantastically talented students that we have across our TAFE sector. I would definitely encourage people to have a look at the edition of Western Teach that Bob is referring to. Fantastic edition, and you can see the fantastic photo in there. It is absolutely phenomenal.
And that will be available on September the 18th, I think it is. The Friday might be the 17th, but it will go online and is mailed out to. And we do know that if you're out in the regions, that can sometimes be a little bit of a delay. Not our doing, it's Australia Post. So getting hard copy mail items out is now a bit more challenging than it used to. So we recommend you can sign up for the digital edition and get it emailed direct to you, and you will get an e-news. Every member gets an e-news advising that online version is available. So that'll be later this month. But congrats to our TAFE winner there, Valerie, who, seriously, some of the picks, as a professional in that field, not in taking them, but in using them, one of the best picks I've seen. So well done. Natalie, while I've got you here, I did want to talk about another issue which has been in the media a lot recently. We've had a TV coverage, we've had a lot of radio coverage. ABC has done a lot about it just recently. And that is the situation with government, the grow housing. So what is happening there? It appears that, we've seen pictures of mould all over sofas. We know of members who've had to back their car up to the security door because the lock's broken. And obviously there's a general shortage as well. So that's something the union's working hard to address.
Absolutely. It's a very challenging and at times for me that I hear back from members very, very concerning what is happening out in our regions. Teaching is a difficult profession in itself. The last thing you actually want to do is to come home to a more stressful environment. You mentioned there, Bob, and this is one quite distressing example for me, that a lady, one of our female members, actually had to reverse her car up to the front door of her house because the lock was broken and it hadn't been fixed. That is no way for anybody to live. To feel safe and secure in your home is... It's just, I was aghast when I actually heard that particular story. It is really not acceptable. The flip side to this is that if there's no adequate and acceptable housing in our regional and remote areas, we simply can't attract and retain teachers and lecturers in those spaces. Students in our public schools deserve the best possible public education they can receive, no matter what their postcode is. So to be able to encourage teachers out into those areas, they actually need to have safe, secure and adequate houses for them to be able to reside in.
And we've actually had senior officers, President Matt Jarman is heading up to the wheat belt, I think it is, in coming weeks. We've also had another staff member has gone up to Derby and spent a week looking at these issues. So we know it's very wide-ranging. If you are in a position where you're in grow housing and you've had a long-term maintenance issue or the house is simply unacceptable, please, you can share your experiences with us at editor@sstuwa.org.au. I'm going to repeat that email address, editor@sstuwa.org.au. Feel free to send in your stories. We will not identify people who share their experiences. And if you have pics, then we will welcome those as well, because there are a number of levels where you approach this sort of thing, Natalie. One is getting media coverage, and the other is direct meetings with the Minister for Housing, which I think the President, Matt Jarman, has been having. And so the more evidence we have of what's going on there, the better.
100%, Bob. And look, the more pressure that we can actually apply, which we are doing, the best outcome that we will be able to achieve. And this grow issue is not related to one particular area or district. It is actually statewide. So it is an area that members tell us it's just simply unacceptable, some of the houses. And that's if people are actually lucky enough to get a house. Members have also told me that they're having to live in caravan parks or in shared accommodation where they actually don't even know the people. It's really, really, really tragic in some instances.
And also quite interesting, I think, there are areas in Perth where housing, in some regional areas, where house prices, I know you won't believe this, but have actually fallen. Now, of course, the rent setting framework is based on previous property values and rental values, and I'm rather sure that I'd be on solid ground to say that the rents don't drop in any way as quickly, if at all, as they rise when the property values rise. So there's a whole lot of issues to be looking at.
There is indeed. And for some of our members, one of them in particular was also advising me that she would absolutely love to stay in the community that she's in, but the private rental that she's in has been sold and she can't qualify to get a grow house. So she actually has to leave the area. She has to leave the community where she's established a fantastic working relationship, built up that connection with the community and the students, and unfortunately, she actually has to leave. So there's a range of issues that are happening here. One, as we've mentioned, and of the particular concern is the lack of housing, making sure that it is safe and secure, as well as making sure that it is livable.
And of course, that's our regional listeners in particular will be aware of those issues. And it was interesting this week to see the Housing Minister actually himself raise the issue that in the metro area, it's getting harder and harder for essential workers, including, and he specifically mentioned teachers, to get homes close to where they're working. So again, we want to see some actual solutions, but it's at least good to see it's on the radar of the government, both in the metro area as well as with Grow.
Yes, it is. And our President, Matt Jarman, and myself, we meet with a range of ministers on a regular basis. And this is just one example of the issues that we're raising with them.
Well, it's been great to talk about a number of those issues with you, Natalie, and thank you to everyone who's listening to Western Teacher Live. I'm just going to, as a final thing, remind you of the website address, www.sstuwa.org.au, and also that address for issues around Grow, in particular, editor@sstuwa.org.au. At the end of the day, we represent you, the members, with our Western Teacher coverage and other coverages on the website and across our communications channels. So your ability to help us is very important. You've listened to Western Teacher Live. We hope you'll do so again. Thank you very much for joining us.
Are you aware of your SSTUWA member benefits? We've got you covered on a range of member benefits from entertainment to insurance and legal. Check out our benefits hub via sstuwa.org.au/benefits.